Welcome back, Truth Seeker. The media right now is really trying to bury the Maui story, and for obvious reasons. But in writing this little book, I am now writing on what just happened in Maui based on our research that we've gathered within the month. I noticed that AP, a certain author, seemed to write all the fact checks for Maui conspiracy theories, and his name is Philip Marcelo. And we're going to watch a short video that he has on YouTube. And what I want you to pay attention to is how he takes things that did go viral on the internet and he shows how they're false. And he's right, they're false. But then he arrives at a conclusion that is not supported by the evidence he gave. And we're going to address that. And I've sent this video to him that we're now streaming through his social media on Twitter. And again, I think we really need to make this conversation happen. I think the way the game works, and I've been pointing this out for years, is these big tech companies will only allow certain things to go viral, and they'll push these things like false footage that's claimed to be from this event, but it's actually that event. This stuff goes viral all the time when something strange happens, something that's questionable happens, like the Maui fires, where they're saying people look like they're victims of Pompeii, when Pompeii was a volcano and this was supposed to be a wildfire, which doesn't usually turn people to ash. You know, that's what we heard happen to the people in Japan not too far away for Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where this thing in Hawaii, you know... It's funny how Hawaii was attacked by Japan in December, and America once essentially overthrew Hawaii in December of 1893 with the Committee of 13, only for this Maui fire to happen 13 days before the state's 64th birthday. But anyway, this Philip Marcelo gentleman, he's taking the things that went viral and showing how they're false, and then he's going to get to the conclusion that essentially there's no conspiracy at all. In Maui, the authorities have told us it was just due to dry conditions and high winds from Dora. And he just leaves it at that. And this is what's annoying. You know, that again, it seems like what they're doing is they're making the things that go viral and everybody sees. And some people who just see that early on, you know, people who don't look into things much, but maybe it even crosses their phone, that their friends send it to them, their relative, their brother, their sister, somebody in their family. You know, they looked at it and they're like, oh, that's interesting. And the next thing you know, they're watching the news and, you know, that they're essentially re-syndicating Philip Marcelo's story about these conspiracy theories online, or pushing these videos from things that were years ago and not actually Maui. And, you know, it's too bad that does happen at this day and age. It's like, we're putting out really awesome information in this community we are putting out awesome information in the world beyond just this community. But, you know, the media did take a stab at my work in 2016 and 2017, naming me personally, but it didn't go well for them because I ended up being right. And anyhow, now they just ignore. But I get it. I get annoyed watching a guy like Philip Marcelo target things that are easily debunked and are the things that got the majority of people's attention, when what they should have been looking at is what we've been saying and sharing for all these years. I mean, literally the lesson that we went to the World Trade Centers last year in New York, September 11, 2022. We were at the World Trade Centers in New York City, sharing a lot of information on the street over loudspeakers about why they called 9/11 the new Pearl Harbor, and why buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell after the kamikaze pilots, 2 planes that took down 3 buildings. And again, buildings 1, 2, and 7 in the new Pearl Harbor, and then Pearl Harbor was December 7th, 127. And we're going to again revisit one more time how significant that number is to what just happened with Maui. Once more, 127, where even yesterday, August 26th, more than 2 weeks after the fires, you had another fire nearby on the day, leaving 127 days left in the year, August 26th. But yeah, let's watch Philip Marcelo's video, what he puts together here, and then how he arrives at this conclusion that's not supported at all by what he debunked. And this is supposed to be the authorities and the AP fact check. So, again, I mean, that's that's why we got to talk to Philip Marcelo. Is he just following the assignment? Is this what he's told to say, what he's told to write, or are these his own thoughts? Because these are illogical thoughts. It's troubling to think that as many people are seeking higher education, that AP would hire somebody as illogical as this. And let's just watch the clip to make the point. And if you don't get the point, I'll help break it down for you. So let's listen to Philip Marcelo, exactly what he claims. Let me make sure I got on the right audio setting for this. Yeah, we should be good. Okay, let's get on Philip Marcelo's short video. It's 44 seconds long, debunking, essentially that there's any conspiracy in Maui. So here it is. Philip Marcelo, who's written a number of articles as well.
Photos and videos are being misrepresented on social media to spread conspiracy theories that the Maui wildfires were caused by a weapon. This is an AP fact check. This photo was shared as supposed proof that a directed energy weapon or laser was used to start the blaze from the sky. But that photo is from 2018 and shows a flare from an oil refinery in Ohio. And if you've seen this video, it actually shows an explosion of transformers and power lines in Louisiana in 2018. Additionally,
so this video right here that he's showing, every time that this video was shared in my comments, it would have the most thumbs up and replies. And again, there were a lot of other good comments. Well, actually, there's not anymore because Google even deletes your comments. It's also, and why isn't AP writing more about these things? Like how these big tech platforms are taking away people's communication? Like that should be studied extensively. Why does big tech want to minimize communication between people? And it's like, what is the... Anyway, this comment though, anytime somebody left this, it just got a bunch of likes, so it would go to the top of the feed, and I was just looking at it and I was like, I can't even tell if that's in Hawaii. Like, I don't know, it doesn't tell me anything. And also the way that this comment was also being left, it was being left from a conspiratory angle, and it would always get a lot of likes and thumbs up. And then also it was left from an angle of, like this is just how the fire happened, that the power lines shorted out. So this was getting so much focus, right? And I just think in my comments, I'm like, God, so people are more into this than what I just presented about the million-mile long list of 127. And anyhow, this guy's now making this video saying like, look, this stuff that went viral, and this wasn't even Maui. So like, do you really think there's a conspiracy if this is the best the online world has? And it's like, that's not true. And the reason that, and maybe if he's not aware of my work, the reason he's not aware of my work, he would have been aware of it in 2016, 2017, and we got a ton of views. That's also part of the reason they've ended to talk about it. They've just been deleting the channel ever since 2017, the time they wrote the last article. Always got to make a new channel. But anyway, it's just annoying that this type of video can even be made from AP, like, this is what, but that is what's gone viral, so this is also what the majority of people have seen. Why is that in the information age? Why are, again, it's because people are more into watching a sparking power line than actually reading about something or learning about something. Anyway, let's finish this video and watch the completely illogical conclusion he comes to. Here we go.
We spoke with an expert who told us that lasers from directed energy weapons are invisible to the naked eye, and the weapons that could even do this kind of damage require huge amounts of power and can't be launched in space. So no, a weapon did not cause the fires in Maui. What we do know is authorities say the cause remains under investigation, but a dry summer and hurricane winds fanned the flames.
Okay, so because those videos were debunked, and because one person he asked about said it would take too much energy to do it, it's not feasible, then that means that there was no weapons used in Maui, there's no conspiracy, case closed. And again, just, the authorities said it's been a dry summer and the high winds from Dora. Okay. People who work in the media must see it even more than I do, right? I imagine if you work in the media, you should be asking yourself, what's with all the numbers and the numbers we're supposed to put in, and why is everyone using the same numbers? The media, so repetitive with numbers and numbers that just don't need to be in stories. So anyway, this is how I started to catch on to what the news media was really about. and what was really going on in this nation, where there was no separation between government and media. I mean, which of these major cable news networks are really investigating into our government? They get into this shallow political stuff that'll make you hate the Democrat more, the Republican more, but where's the real investigation into the government? You know, what news media source went deep on questioning the official narrative of 9/11? The COVID pandemic and lockdowns, except for Amazon and Walmart and Costco and other big box retailers that already rule the nation. You know, like, there's no investigations. Where's the investigation right now into Maui? This is it? This is the investigation this guy did? Oh, see, that video that went viral about Maui fire and that one, those are all false. It's like, why did those even go viral? I mean, big tech's cutting everything off in seconds that they don't want out there. Why are they letting this crap go viral? Again, this is controlling the narrative. They wanted certain people to see things that might be questioning the events. It's like a setup, right? It's like a setup. So then they can get Philip Marcelo to say, oh, see, you got duped by all those videos. Don't listen to all this conspiracy crap. And that's exactly what happens. That becomes the culture. That's why I'm out on the streets, and I got people come by who don't really listen to me, and they just, you know, they think I'm some other crazy guy in the corner. But I'm actually teaching some real knowledge that exposes what's really going on. And to get to that point again, he brings up the hurricane winds of Dora. Well, what are the odds? Again, look into it. It's all facts. It's been reported by AP and others. The owner of the Miracle House, the red-roofed house in Lahaina that didn't burn when everything else around it did, her name is Dora Atwater Milliken. Her name is Dora, a relatively rare name. And August 9th, 2019 is when Dora the Explorer ended, and its creator was born in 1959, the same year Hawaii became a state, meaning he turned 64 this year like Hawaii, and Joe Biden waited 13 days until the statehood birthday of August 21st, back when it joined the 13 Stripes and was overthrown in history by the Committee of 13 130 years earlier, 130. Philip Marcelo came up in America. I'm sure he was pledging to the 13 Stripes for 13 years of school. You know. But anyway, Philip Marcelo, that Dora lady. Here's where you got to begin to look into it more. Again, we're in 9/11. We're at the site of 9/11 last year teaching about Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 127. And 9/11 in buildings 1, 2, and 7, and why it's called Ground Zero, and what Ground Zero has to do with the history of the Manhattan Project and the development of sophisticated weapons, including the hydrogen, atomic, and nuclear bombs. The definition of Ground Zero is below or above ground where those types of bombs explode. The governor referred to this site as Ground Zero, like 9/11. Anyhow, Gematria. Again, debunk this, Philip Marcelo. You have to debunk this. Gematria. Well, you know how there's that book right now. He might have even written a piece on this, because that's another thing they went after, how it's just a coincidence that this book's Fire and Fury's out at the time of the fire when Maui burns. I forgot that was even up there right now, but Fire and Fury, 127, the number. 64, like how old Maui turned. 62, like how old Obama turned, who's from Hawaii, with the connection to Chicago. We'll bring that back. Again, if this is the first video of mine you're seeing, we talked about the relationship between Obama and Kanye becoming celebrities around the same time, and then November of 2008 being a really big time for both of them. Obama president-elect and Kanye West 808s and Heartbreak album, recorded in Hawaii, the 808 area code that was made the 808 area code on August 8th, 88. The Great Chicago Fire, the city connecting Kanye and Obama, began on the 8th. In the year 1871. Again, Hawaii burned on the 353rd day of its age, the 71st prime, and then the governor called it Ground Zero on the 71st anniversary of weather warfare being admitted to. And now the governor's going to have a tech meeting on September 25th in Hawaii, the anniversary of JFK's speech about weather control. And again, with regards to Josh Green, remember The Rock, who's currently filming a movie about the Hawaiian king. His original entertainer name was Rocky Maivia, before he called himself The Rock, which is 127. And The Rock introduced the new Moana film, the new live-action film with the trailer that begins with the island bursting into flame. He introduced it April 3rd, 127 days before the fire. And he plays Maui, the fire god, a Polynesian fire god. Polynesia's 127. But this Dora, where I should have started, Dora Milliken, the surviving house, her name is Dora Atwater Milliken. Notice how Dora Milliken's 127 and 64. Again, Maui turned 64. Biden's 80 right now, which is another big part of it. But Dora Milliken, 127, her last name alone, Milliken, 127, and her full name, Dora Atwater Milliken. All 127. I've never seen that before. The 89 is interesting because, again, the fire stopped on August 9th, and we know what happened with Jay-Z and Hawaiian Sophie in 89 on The Rock's 17th birthday. Again, Maui 17 like Jay-Z, and Maui was made a state, or Hawaii was made a state when Joe Biden was 17 years old. And then Joe Biden won the 59th presidential election, the 17th prime, and big numbers there, 59 and 17. Modern Freemasonry was created in 1717, and this nation was created 59 years later. But you see how Maui's 64 as well, like Joe Biden, like the other 64s. And again, Joe Biden's there on the state's 64th birthday. And the Great Chicago Fire was 152 years earlier. And Biden's wingman Obama connects with Chicago and Hawaii, just like Kanye West. And again, November of 2008, when it happened with Kanye and Obama. And Kanye will forever be connected to Hurricane Katrina, which was just before Obama. Around the same time, they're both starting to get famous, starting to get national recognition. Again, Obama gave the keynote address in 2004, and the news media said that day, could we be looking at the future first black president? Well, next election cycle, what do you know? Katrina right between that. But, again, the Great Chicago Fire, you guys. Here's what's a trip about this. Philip Marcelo, the guy who they have writing all these articles debunking, you see how his name is 137 in Gematria? Again, there's 8 big islands in Hawaii, 137 total islands. And the Great Chicago Fire started at the address West 137 to Coven Street. 137 is the 33rd prime number. Hawaii also equals 33. And the Committee of 13 that overthrew Hawaii in 1893, their roots were what happened in Chicago in 1860, 33 years earlier, with when the Republican Party and Abe Lincoln announced their plans for the South and making things very expensive for them and essentially phasing out slavery, which launched the Civil War. And remember, Hawaii was united in part by the king, who The Rock's now portraying. The king of Hawaii, who was there when they ended the Civil War in Hawaii, he died in 1819. He died 74 years before America invaded. The title of the king equals 74. The name of that king, King Kamahina, or I'm saying his name wrong, but his name Gematria is 62, like Obama just turned 62, and Hawaii burned on the 62nd day of Kanye's age, and Jay-Z 62, and Jay-Z was born the day Fred Hampton was murdered in Chicago. And again, Jay-Z with the Hawaiian Sophie music video, where he gets yanked up on the 50th second of the music video by a rope that's near his neck, almost like a mock hanging, like a puppet, totally. And again, 50th second, Hawaii, Maui, Lahaina burns up the 50th, or as the 50th state is Hawaii. Hawaii is the 50th state, but it burns up the week of hip-hop's 50th anniversary. And again, hip-hop built on the 808 drum machine, like Hawaii's the 808 area code. In this Hawaii thing, we were able to bring so much information together so fast because there were some really key contributions from the community, like when Eric called in about the 808 drum machine. I mean, that just instantly set it off. And then we just like every domino just fell into line after that. But yeah, again, what we've been educating about for all these years, how we are living out a planned agenda. And by the way, just waiting 74 years to get overthrown by America. Again, this nation's birthday is 7/4. Independence Day equals 74. Like holiday, like English, like Gematria, which is the practice of coding numbers into words. Like occult, like Jewish. Like Jesus, like cross, like Messiah, like gospel, like parables. These are big numbers right here. 137 is the 33rd prime and 74. Out of the 50 states, only one equals 74 and happens to be the 33rd state. Just like how Jesus is on the cross at 33. So, Philip Marcelo, I'm not saying you're Jesus, I'm just saying they like these numbers a lot, and I find it so interesting that this is the guy writing all the articles and uploading these short videos attacking the conspiracy by simply debunking what's gone viral, which doesn't mean you've debunked the conspiracy. I mean, come attack what I'm showing, and again, understand that there's a mountain of evidence under this showing the same types of patterns and just talking about the same stuff over and over and over again. And yeah, again, I mean, what good to get a paycheck? This guy's online trying to get people to not look into things. I mean, how pathetic is that? How much do you think Philip Marcelo gets paid to really try to convince people not to look into things? Isn't that ultimately what the point of all these articles is? Don't look into anything against the official narrative. Look, the authorities told us it was the high winds of Dora and dry conditions. Okay? And you know what? This guy wrote an article. About how the tech conference in January, which was the 56th tech conference, just like Moana was the 56th Disney film. Okay. Again, The Rock's doing the new Moana film about a dying island where it can only be saved with the green stone. We got the Green New Agenda. And the new governor is Josh Green. And Hawaii burned up on his 247th day of being in office, while the United States is 247 years old, and it burned synced with the state's birthday as the 50th and final, again, the week of hip-hop's 50th birthday. But anyway, this same guy who did that short video, this guy right here, Philip Marcelo. So he wrote this article. This is his article right here. AP fact check, Philip Marcelo talking about the conference in January and the upcoming conference in September. So let's look at the upcoming conference in September first, and then we'll go back to the January one. Again, the keynote speaker is going to lead it off is Governor Josh Green. I'll make the point in a moment. But he's going to give this speech on September 25th. September 25th. The day in history that JFK gave a speech on weather control in 1961, meaning it's going to be the 62nd anniversary of that speech. And again, my prior book, Letters and Numbers, or not my first book, Letters and Numbers, the chapter on weather warfare and why it was admitted to on the Jesuit order's birthday on August 15th, 1952. Again, that's the year that day this year is when Josh Green was comparing the site to 9/11 and the World Trade Centers and a war zone and ground zero. But yes, September 25th, the day of the JFK speech about weather control, and in a positive way, how it could be used to make sure there's no more droughts and to prevent exactly like what happened in Hawaii. Let's get some rain down. It's getting too dry out here. Today's the day to bring in the rain. Just want to make sure we're not sparking any unnecessary fires. Keep Lahaina the beautiful town. So JFK was giving a speech like that. How weather control could be this thing of the future that really, just makes it better. The advantages of technology. And again, the problem is, it's just like Ralph Nader. If you ever go see Ralph Nader's so old now, I don't think he does speak anymore, but if you saw Ralph Nader, he was saying at the end of his speaking career, I'd always make a point to go listen to Ralph Nader if he was anywhere near where I was. I liked Ralph Nader when I was younger. I thought he was a legit person until he scolded me one time in person, and I just wondered if I was wrong or maybe he was becoming a grumpy old man. But Ralph Nader explained that in his younger heydays when he became famous, he helped create a lot of these government things that were actually, his dream was that they would come and actually be good government and help people and make life better. And, if you listen to him at the end of his life, he's like, he's running for the Green Party, and then he's not doing that, now he's just speaking. But he was speaking out against what government was. And he's like, all this government is just wolves guarding the hen house. So you create these positions, and then the wolves get in there, and then they just, they feast on the hens. And sometimes the feast is a lot nastier than others, like what happened on the 247th day of Governor Josh Green, while the country was 247 years old. And so was the Illuminati. And again, the Illuminati was founded May 1st, 1776, 64 days before July 4th, 1776. 64, the spaces on the chessboard. The name Bavarian Illuminati equals 127. Go figure. That 127 thing. And just to be fair about it, again, the founder of the Illuminati was Jesuit trained, Adam Weishaupt, who was Jewish. And, Josh Green is the second Jewish governor out of the 9 in Hawaii's existence. The last one was Linda, like LL, but born on 6/4. Again, 64 spaces on the chessboard. Joe Biden, there for the 64th birthday. Big jokes. Obama, the Civil Rights Act, 64. Obama, number 44, 44 years after the Civil Rights Act, and then Hawaii burns up 4 days after his birthday on the 4th of August, and also 4 years after Dora the Explorer ended. 4, number of destruction and death. And again, the spirituality that's most known amongst the Abrahamic religions that's into numbers, again, the 4th book of the Bible is Numbers, which is the Jewish section, that 4 again. Again, numbers are important to Judaism. They're studied in Kabbalah, and obviously the subject of Gematria. And again, the Jesuits are a Catholic-Jewish alliance that came together because of Martin Luther's Reformation. But again, if you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat it. And again, if you don't know about this Gematria thing, you're doomed not to see through the rituals, and you're doomed to denounce that conspiracies are happening in the world. I mean, the thing about Philip Marcelo is he might be another guy where he's getting a nice, cozy salary from AP right now. He's making 6 figures, something like that. His family's proud of him. And, next thing, he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it was the blowtorch wins. And the irony of it is that, man, maybe had people looked into it all those years ago before it happened to him, maybe it wouldn't happen. But here he was, part of the world, part of the recipe to make sure nobody's looking into anything. Look, and by the way, let's go back and watch his video one more time all the way through without interruption. But notice how the stuff he's debunking is from 2018. It's interesting that the stuff that they made go viral is from 2018, isn't it? Because isn't that the year Paradise, California burned by the numbers? Again, just to show people what we've been talking about all these years. I mean, we've talked about Paradise a million times, which didn't make any sense. See how Paradise, California is 118, and so is Los Angeles, California, the city on the 118th meridian west as the September 4th birthday, the day leaving 118 days left in the year. Both Paradise and LA had those historic fires. Paradise got the worst of it, at least as far as I know, but they were both on November 8th, 118. And then it was August 11th. See how Lahaina is 18, excuse me. See how Lahaina's 44, like Maui's 44, like military's 44, like Harp's 44. Again, the day that the story of Lahaina's devastation really took over the U.S. news, and again, this is how you can see all the networks are working together, was August 11th. It wasn't made clear how bad Lahaina got it here in the mainland on the cable news networks until August 11th. Well, August 11th is the anniversary of the HARP patent in 1987, this military research program to harness energy to use for strategic purposes. Now again, why would the U.S. military attack its own military location in Hawaii? You have to think about who runs the nation. Isn't that where the answer to that question lies? Well, what if a psychopath owns it who doesn't really care about the people of America but likes being in control of America for the power and access it gives him over humanity to advance his own endeavors? And again, you look at how our government and the way this capitalism has gone in this nation that's totally fascist. I mean, why do you think so few chains have taken over this country? I mean, you drive across the country, it's the same big box stores all the way across, same fast food chains. You know, it used to be 5 companies left. Now we're down to 4. Now we're down to 3. How long until we're down to 1? Amamart. Amamorort. Asasoft. You know, it'll just be one company controlling everything through one computer. Again, he's making fun of how they had these tech conferences, right? So again, I'm just saying, what are the odds that the upcoming one is on the anniversary of JFK's weather control speech and the 62nd anniversary? I might not have finished saying it, but that chapter on weather warfare, I think I forgot to finish saying this up. That chapter on weather warfare right at the beginning gets into the date August 15th, 52, and the number 62. All over the place in that act of weather warfare, just like it's all over the place on this one. And ground zero, again, what the site's being called, ground zero, 62. Obama turned 62. Kanye's 62nd day of his age. Jay-Z, the name of the king that The Rock's playing. The year the new mayor's born in. 62 days before Yale's birthday. Home of Skull and Bones, which is a whole nother piece. They're the big 41 gang in Pearl Harbor in 41, and The Rock's grandfather dead in the Illuminati ritual 41 years before this happened. Who the tattoos from his actual body are the tattoos on the Moana character in the Disney film that The Rock plays. And again, Maui, Polynesian fire god, also connected to earthquakes. And yesterday, the day leaving 127 days left in the year, the biggest earthquake in the world was in Polynesia. And again, Hawaii, near where the fire was, caught on fire. 127 again. Polynesia, 127. All the other 127s. Including Josh Green being at the United Nations on 12/7 right before the fires, July 12th in New York, side of the new Pearl Harbor, talking Green New Deal stuff. But, again, Obama just turned 62. Kanye just turned 46. The connection back to Chicago. Notice how Chicago's 46 and 143. And one of the easier calls in the last week in baseball was the day Justin Still was pitching and became 14-3, tying the league best starting record for the year. It was the 143rd day of the season. How's Justin Still for the Chicago Cubs not going to become 14-3 on the 143rd day of the season? Gematria. Chicago 46. The Bears won their only Super Bowl 46-10 with the revolutionary 4-6 defense. 46-10, 56 points. And with regards to 56, special number. Special number. And I want to go back to, again, this tech conference article that he wrote. The other tech conference in question began in 1968. And I saw that this man who's writing these articles debunking conspiracies in Maui, his big things are racial injustice, immigration, and COVID-19. And just think about those topics in the COVID era forward. The massive Event 201 simulation, then the massive pandemic, and then the massive 201 ritual of George Floyd and January 6th, and everything since, and Hawaii becoming a state 201 months after Joe Biden was born. Again, if you're new here, these are numbers of the Illuminati and the Jesuit order. That's why the first Jesuit Pope is the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican, and it's why Joe Biden sacrificed his son at age 46, Beau Biden, 201 days before the Pope's birthday. And it's why Donald Trump, another Jesuit, was burying his ex-wife on the 201st day of the year last year. Again, this stuff's way bigger than you know, but you look at what this guy's into, opioid addiction. Okay, so fentanyl and COVID, where do they overlap in history? In 1968, fentanyl approved by the FDA. In 1968, coronavirus coined as seasonal flu. And those are two of the biggest killers in the world today. And 1968, that year of years, MLK, Bobby Kennedy, World Trade Center construction began, 911 made the national emergency dialing code, and a long list of other things, including 2001 A Space Odyssey coming out, like how in 2001, 9/11, World Trade Centers all came together, but a movie about technology overtaking man. You know, he made a point about how people like to post videos of supposedly direct energy weapons, but those videos don't make sense because the things that directed energy weapons do are invisible, which makes sense. But look at this. Remember what day. Here, let's just go to one cipher here. just the reverse alphabetic order. Notice how lasers is 88, right? Energy is 88. Weapon is 88. So he made the point that the videos aren't proof of directed energy weapons because you wouldn't be able to see them. And he asked one guy if they could be used, and the other guy said, no, it requires too much energy. Well, again, the same media a decade ago was showing us the future of the military's directed energy weapons and how they could ignite things from 15 miles away, essentially through super high-powered magnifying glasses and whatnot. This was being shown to us in cable news over a decade ago. And so anyway, him going, oh, I asked a guy, and he said that it's impossible because it uses too much energy. It's just, no, that doesn't mean anything. That's not a fair analysis. And I'm not saying this is definitive proof either, that weapon, energy, and lasers all equal 88, or that Joe Biden said he was laser focused. I'm not saying that's definitive proof either, but I'm saying what I'm presenting fits in with everything else I'm saying. You know? And there's a lot more really that can be said about all these things. I'm just kind of hitting the tip of the iceberg on a lot of these points again. And I hope for those of you guys who are watching a lot of these videos, even though they are redundant, it's sticking more and more in your head so you can share the information, because that's what ultimately has to happen. And what we need is a debate with a Philip Marcelo. You know, the media has been sounding this alarm nonstop for over a decade now about how social media is irresponsible. And they'll even say things like, look at how many views this video got. We're not even getting that kind of attention. It's like, well, why aren't you getting, why is a piece of bullshit information getting more than what you're doing on the news? Why have people tuned out the news? Again, that's not a reason to censor. Because now look, now the baby gets thrown out with the bathwater. I've been getting censored. I got my videos on Sandy Hook taken down for hate speech when all I ever did was show all the numerical synchronicity and what that shooting had to do with the one in Aurora, Colorado earlier in the year at the Batman premiere, when that year the Batman Gotham City map changed one section that had never been changed before. A neighborhood was changed from South Hinckley to Sandy Hook. And then after the Sandy Hook shooting, the news media had this Batman theme going. It was like a child killed in his Batman costume at a Halloween fundraiser for the school. This teacher who dressed up as Batman weekly shot in mass shooting. I mean, we've been documenting all this stuff for a decade. And I'm just thinking, where are the real people in the media who are like, what am I working for? Am I putting out mass propaganda every day? Am I telling people to shut down their minds? Am I part of some like funny ritual that I don't understand? Why do I have to put this number in that story again? Are you sure that's the data again? Man, that number comes up in the data a lot. That's the number again for the... Again, you know Crow 777. I used to do a show a lot. And Crow 777, I don't know if he talks about it anymore, but he used to work in the media. And he got out of the media because he said they were making him a robot. He was getting essentially all the stuff that needed to be in the story. And with this kind of persuasion and this kind of angle. And it just, to him, is like, what's the point of even doing this? I mean, none of this is my own thought. I'm assembling the words that they want in here in the narrative they wanted. That's my job. So, and for all the people who didn't get out of it, like Crow, and do his own thing and start his own branch of media and research, you got these guys, and they're sucking up to the man. Well, let's watch this video again one more time. I mean, this is just such a suck up to the man. And yes, you might have debunked a bunch of crap that's viral on the internet, but again, why is it even viral when big tech is shutting down anything they don't want out there? And is it not made viral for you to do what you do? Debunk those things to come to your punchline, which is not supported by what you just debunked. You can't say that no weapons were used in Maui based on debunking some videos that are purposely misleading on the web. I mean, that's not compatible. So let's go back and listen and see that that's exactly what he did. And this is what goes for reputable, right? This is what's allowed. Messages like this, no matter how illogical and unsupported they are. Okay, here we go.
Photos and videos are being misrepresented on social media to spread conspiracy theories that the Maui wildfires were caused by a weapon. This is an AP fact check. This photo was shared as supposed proof that a directed energy weapon or laser was used to start the blaze from the sky. But that photo is from 2018 and shows a flare from an oil refinery in Ohio. And if you've seen this video, it actually shows an explosion of transformers and power lines in Louisiana in 2018. Additionally, we spoke with an expert who told us that lasers from directed energy weapons are invisible to the naked eye, and the weapons that could even do this kind of damage require huge amounts of power and can't be launched in space. So no, a weapon did not cause the fires in Maui. What we do know is authorities say the cause remains under investigation, but a dry summer and hurricane winds fan the flames.
Okay, so no, a weapon did not cause the fires in Maui. Okay, debunking the things he did proves the point that a weapon wasn't used. How? Oh, man, it's bad. It's just so annoying, you guys, because 9/11 was just like this, too. It made as little sense as Maui. People just marched along. Everything they keep showing you in the news, there's like, nothing makes sense. They want to take away your rights and liberties over all these supposed shootings, never showing you anything. You don't have any proof that anything happened. You got laughing Robbie Parker. Remember how Robbie Parker just got paid a whole bunch of taxpayer money? Alex Jones, another puppet. Kind of guys they like to debunk. Guys that get out there and get all the attention putting out shit. Look at this. Robbie Parker got paid. Okay, it wasn't from the taxpayers. Well, if Alex Jones can't pay, who pays it then? I take it back. It wasn't from the taxpayers in this case. But supposedly from Alex Jones, supposedly ordered to pay $120 million. And remember, Robbie Parker, he was a huge focus of people who had questions about Sandy Hook because he was just laughing it up and chumming it up and having a good time with all the people around him. And then when he was alerted that he was on camera for the Sandy Hook interview about the shooting of his daughter, he did the big, long breath, kind of got into form, and then came out all sad. It's like, wait a minute, man. I mean, maybe just seeing all the people around there just made him feel real good for a minute. But I'm thinking, man, you're already on the way up to the podium to talk about your daughter who was murdered earlier in the day. I think you'd already in this frame of mind where you're probably pretty damn sad. It wouldn't be surprised if there was tears in your eyes. But man, he just looked like he was having the time of his life until he got cued the, whoa, it's showtime. And again, these videos used to be all over YouTube before the media started calling for people to be... Again, media started calling because of people questioning if, the boost in vaccine schedules for recent generations have been correlated with the uptick in other illnesses that are newer to children, including autism. And again, all that had to be censored, and then everyone questioning Sandy Hook had to be censored, and then everyone questioning seemingly everything had to be censored. And now you can't find videos that used to just be everywhere. From Robbie Parker laughing it up all over the place. It's out there. I mean, if you look for it, you'll find it. If you don't know about the Robbie Parker laughing up, you go look up that video yourself and see if I'm tripping in the way I just described it. But again, the point is, the things I show with Sandy Hook is how it's all like this. How everyone's name codes out, the date codes out. It fits a long pattern that goes beyond Sandy Hook. And here we are, a decade later, and now Robbie Parker, 120, is getting supposedly $120 million payout. And again, what's the theme here? Here's Alex Jones, the super made famous conspiracy guy, getting shook down for the $1 billion lawsuit in court. And you guys better be careful out there speaking out in the world. We're censoring you, but you better shut up. You might be in court getting sued big time next. You might owe Robbie Parker $120 million. Well, like I said, my video at the time was, okay, come sue me for $120 million for what I'm saying. You guys took down my channel and ruined all the progress I made working super hard at it for 5 years, and then been deleting it ever since for the last 5 years. So just destroying, and again, it does destroy. I mean, their censorship destroys all the hard work and effort. I shouldn't say all, but a lot of it. I mean, for every person I'm reaching right now, we'd be reaching way more people if we hadn't been destroyed. But yeah, I was destroyed for showing the numerical ritual of Sandy Hook. That was hate speech. Like saying, this is hate speech. It's not hate speech. And what's this guy doing out here? Is he doing any checks on if the Constitution's being upheld? You're in the media. The media should care about the First Amendment the most. The reason they don't is because they haven't for a long time, because it's not about rights and liberties anymore. It's about status and money. And people are just, taking the job and doing what they're told for the big bucks. Taught everybody how to be a hypocrite, how to judge Nazis and then grow up to be one themselves, and not even see the part they play in the new Nazi web. And remember, the Nazis are just another Jesuit offshoot. Nazis stream right back into the Jesuits. First act of weather warfare on the Jesuit order's birthday. This year on the 71st anniversary, it's Hawaii, in the parallels with the Great Chicago Fire from 1871. And let's not forget the Great London Fire, which was blamed on the Jesuits. That happened 1959 days from King Charles being coronated back then, the Great London Fire, like Hawaii became a state in 1959. And we know this Illuminati network. Royal family's definitely a part of it. Catholic Church, Vatican, all of this stuff. Big players on the world stage. You know, I think I forgot to finish making the point about 56. But yeah, this year, the digital summit was the 56th. It's all synced up with Moana, which was the 56th Disney film. This guy got famous with coronavirus. Everything was 56 in coronavirus. Gavin Newsom, first governor to lock down the state. 56% of the state's getting it in 8 weeks, which is 56 days. Of course, in Gematria, Gavin Newsom's 56. Jesuit educated. Society of Jesus, 56. Coronavirus, 56. COVID vaccine. Anthony Fauci, again, 56 years after Trump's Jesuit education. But look at how the same numbers are everywhere. I mean, I end up talking about the same stuff over and over because the same numbers are everywhere. It was the 56th conference, and again, this relates to, you know, big tech. We're living in the time of the technology takeover because it's what's going to give the Illuminati network, the surveillance state, you know, the maximum control over people, just like they desire and want and are working towards and have been for a long time, for longer than any of us have been alive. That's why we have to use the tools of the time to overcome the time. They've had forever to work at this. We're just waking up to it, but there's so many of us. That's why they have to keep everything squashed in the algorithm. That's why they have to control the narrative at all times. It's controlling the narrative. Put out the fake propaganda shit. Make that go viral. Make all these dummies eat it up so then their friends and family can laugh at them and say, oh, you fell for the conspiracy theory again, moron. What are you going to learn? They think they're so fucking smart because they're just saying it was just the winds of door in a dry summer. The next thing you know, they burned up and they knew something was wrong in the last moment. Never seen blowtorch winds before, but it was too fucking late. Yeah, it's funny. I already wrote a book really on 56 and 201 with 9/11 to coronavirus. And it's huge in this, and it's huge in a million things since and before and after. Obama won that 56 presidential election. Black Lives Matter 56, just like how the first Black Panther meetings were in Catholic churches. The Jesuits served the Catholic Church. Josh Green. I'm still debating on when to go to Hawaii. I'm going to do it. I'm actually thinking about maybe the right day is September 25th, the day of this conference, to be out there making a lot of noise. See if by then I can have a bunch of short books printed to hand out, at least some kind of pamphlet, place online to order the book. Again, the little Hawaii book's coming together nicely, and I do plan to use the rest of the day working on that. But yeah, I want to make sure that, or I can't make sure the way I'm squashed into insignificance, but I want to continue to fan the flame on the Maui story that people need to look into. Because, again, the media can't just bury this and move on with the election and all this crap, which is exactly what they're doing. This is something that the American people cannot forget about. They forgot about Paradise. And again, this is going to become a lot more rampant as Agenda 2030 and Agenda 21 marches on and the Great Reset. Again, Josh Green talking Green New Deal, 12/7. And by the way, well, one more thing with Gematria. Again, the 4-base ciphers, I just want you to see how Kill and Maui are the exact same in every cipher and why they all matter. Again, look at Kill and Maui. Here, I'll put another word up there that's similar. Hope. But Kill and Maui are the exact same in all 4 ciphers. Hope and Kill and Maui are the exact same in 3 out of 4. Now, again, Obama, number 44. This happens right at the time of Maui's 64th birthday, 4 days after Barack's birthday on August 4th. The fires begin. From the day Josh Green was at the United Nations talking Green New Deal to the day Lahaina burned up and now ripe real estate for a green reset, a greener reset, a Josh Greener reset. Total span of 28 days. From being in the United Nations to the fires, August 9th was 28 days later. Start date was a span of 28 days, 9th. When the fires finished, destruction was finished, 28 days. And then the 17 thing. Again, Biden was 17 when Hawaii became a state. The Rock's 17th birthday is the day the Jay-Z Hawaiian Sophie video came out where he hangs at the 50th second and can go with the 50th week of hip-hop. Jay-Z's also 17. And again, from everything from Dora Milliken to Fire and Fury, the coincidental book, to 1964 when Hurricane Dora was a significant storm. That's how old the Dora, the creator, is, just like Hawaii. They're both born in 59. And a number of other things. The spaces on the chessboard. Again, the Illuminati's establishment, 64 Days Before America. International Chess Day coming out of Paris, like the Climate Accords, like the Jesuits. Also like the Scottish Rite, where it came to power, where a lot of the founders were studying. As the capital moves to the Jesuit stronghold, D.C. Oh, yeah. I can't believe I almost forgot to say that, you guys. We talked about how lasers, energy, and weapon are all 88, right? They're all 88. But forwards, they're all 74. And again, this is the guy who they got to proclaim that there is no weapon. He said no weapon was used because he debunked the false videos from 2018 that were in other places. And because one guy told him that it would be too much energy to do it. It's like, too much energy to do it. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a huge bill for the taxpayer to do it. But we're paying for it. Not the people doing the destruction and coming in and sweeping up the land. Joe Biden's going to send you all $700. Have a nice life. You can be homeless. $700. Don't get it stolen from you. Sleeping out on the streets. But yeah, also the qualifying wind speeds of a hurricane are 74 miles per hour. I can't believe I skipped over the weapon thing. Funny. Take a mulligan on this video. But anyway, Philip Marcelo, even though it could have done a lot better at this presentation, I hope you do see this video. I hope you think about what you're doing. And really what I would love is if you wanted to attack my work and show how it's all a bunch of conspiracy bullshit, you know. My sister would like your article, I guarantee it. She would take the time to read it. She would think, and the reason my sister would think that is because she doesn't, you know, she wants to live with her head in the clouds and not think about dark, depressing things that really could be happening. That messes with her worldview, where America has a good government and, you know, everything is just hunky-dory here. They're doing their best. And of course, she thinks that because she grew up in this world of people like Philip Marcelo, who'll do anything for a paycheck. And, yeah, it's a damn shame, man. There's people who are just dead and burned up, and Philip Marcelo's out there telling people not to look into it. This needs to be debated. This needs to be a debate. Is Philip Marcelo in the right? Does he have a good argument? Does he have a good argument that no weapons were used? I'm going to close out with one more thing about how this is so perfect with a weapon and Philip Marcelo. He says, no weapon, energy, lasers are invisible. I've told this story before. When I went down to Louisiana to educate about LSU's championship over Clemson in the Billy Cannon history repeats itself moment when Billy Cannon died the day that Joe Burrow transferred to LSU. And again, that was May 20th, the day in history that Ignatius Loyola was shot with a cannonball. And now Judge Cannon set a Trump court date for May 20th, the anniversary upcoming, the year of the election, 2024. Anyway, when I got in, because I flew into Louisiana, I flew into New Orleans, and then I drove up to Baton Rouge, where the LSU campus is, and my flight was delayed along the way, and by the time I got to the hotel, it was about 2:30 in the morning, and I planned to be out at the LSU campus bright and early, and I wanted to just get in and get to sleep and like get a 3-hour power nap and get back up and try to be out there, you know, when the students are out bustling around, starting around 7 a.m., see what it was like first day. But when I was checking in, the guy gave me a key number, and I laughed about what key number he gave me because it was very symbolic to what I was down there to talk about. And I I just started to talk about it, and I didn't think he would take that much interest in what I was saying, but he got real curious. And eventually, after I was sharing all this information with him about what I was down there to talk about and all the deaths connected to the championship game, and again, Joe Burrow and Billy Cannon, I mean, he was following along and getting it. It's like, wow, it's crazy. But then what he said is, he goes, now, I do something else besides just work behind this clerk desk. He says, my other job is writing for AP. And he said, I only get, a handful of articles a month to write, but it's a decent income. And he said, the thing that I've always thought's funny about it is, when I took the job, I gave him my areas of expertise and what I prefer to write about. And he said, they never give me topics in those areas. And he says he always gets the most random things to write about. And he was trying to figure out why. And I said, well, you asking me that, I've had this. Here, to make a point, let me go back to an article written about me. So, Vice News, Zachary K. Hubbard, and I've noticed this. We'll look at both articles written about me to prove a point, actually. But this guy who wrote this article about me years ago, back in 2017, on November 20th, actually, Joe Biden's birthday, wacko YouTuber approves World Series was rigged. And they got this guy named Sean Newell to write the article. Now, that's interesting, Sean Newell, because the big thing he makes fun of is the points I've been teaching about 52 and flooding. And here we are, actually, on August 27th, the anniversary of Harvey flooding in 2017. Something that we predicted before it happened, and then through the flooding, we predicted why Houston would win the World Series, which we were right about. And he's making fun of that in my research on the number 52 in these matters. And look at the guy's name, who they got to write the article. Sean Newell's 52, right? And then the other article written about me by USA Today's sports thing, The Big Lead, they wrote this article in 2016 on January 27th. Interesting dates. A man calling himself Zachary K. Hubbard. But anyway, this guy, he closes it out with saying I actually might not be wrong. And he makes a joke with The Simpsons, and he has to drop a 47 in there. Again, we're talking Super Bowl, first Super Bowl in the 47th NFL season. But this guy's name, Ryan Phillips. His name is 159 and 165, just like Scottish Rite. And he's making this joke at the end about Freemasonry. And, this is also about the time Trump's campaigning. And Trump's born on the 165th day of the year. And his name's 159, like Scottish Rite. They just did that big ritual in Montgomery with Trump in 159. And 66 is just huge with the NFL, the first Super Bowl season in the 66 season, NFL 66 in Jewish Gematria. 66 is the 11th triangular number. Again, this is what we were attacking back then, the history of Freemasonry. And a big point we were making back then is, again, Freemasonry's 58, like secret society, like Solomon's Temple, where Freemasonry secrets are, and like Huey P. Newton, the founder of the Black Panther Party. And we were pointing out how in October of that season, we said why Cam Newton would become the 58th quarterback to start in a Super Bowl, and he would lose to Peyton Manning and Von Miller, who was drafted one pick after Cam Newton, Von Miller was, who wore the number 58. And again, in October, we had all of that mapped out. The Wright Championship and the Super Bowl MVP, a defensive player, which is something that doesn't happen that often in NFL history. Look up how many times the defensive player's been it. But it was also perfect that year, and we understood how big these numbers were. And you see how Huey P. Newton's 131? Cam Newton, who was the quarterback, who became the 58th quarterback to start a Super Bowl, Cam Newton's born on the 131st day of 1989. That's the same year Huey P. Newton died, and he died on the day leaving 131 days left in the year. And Huey P. Newton's 131 and 41, like Super Bowl. Anyway, we're getting tangential, but just using a small sample size of the articles that attack me. Long before these articles were written, I was starting to notice how sometimes names that were in these articles were so much correlating with what the ritual was in the story. And a long time ago, I really stopped focusing on that. because it's not necessarily the strongest point that needs to be made, and it's just there's so many other things you can show. But coming back to when I was checking myself into the hotel in the middle of the night, the guy said, "Do you think maybe like my name numbers could be why I'm getting the stories I'm getting?" I said, "Well, I'd have to look," but I said, "That's possible." I said, I've often theorized that that's what they're doing, just based on what I've noticed." And I mean, here we are again. Here's the guy that AP chose to write all these articles, and his name is 74 like weapon, when he's coming out and saying no weapon was used. And then 137 like the number of islands, which again goes with Chicago and where the address was that the fire started, and all the parallels with everything else. And what are the odds that Kanye and Jay-Z put out an album on August 8th, Watch the Throne, with the song Ends in Paris, when Paris is the home of the Jesuits and climate accords, and yeah. Anyhow, if you guys can go to Philip's social media, at Phil Marcelo, if you guys can blast him, if you guys are on Twitter, or if he's on, maybe he's on other social media that you're on, but just blast him. Say you're not happy. Say, how can you come out and claim that no weapon was used when there's still so many things that have not been, there's so many questions that have not been answered. So to come out and make this statement, let's see if we can get Phil Marcelo to address that, and also potentially address this video. If you guys want to go, if he got blasted with a lot of people that linked the video and asked him these type of questions, it might provoke him to actually try and attack the work. And maybe in a way, it's good that I didn't do the greatest presentation. Maybe he thinks, there's a chink in the armor he can attack. We want that attack. We need this conversation to happen. There needs to be, because again, there's never a back and forth. It's just like the media with their authority just always attacking and calling for more censorship, and big tech just censoring without explanation, just telling you your video was medical misinformation even though there wasn't one single thing about medicine in the video or medical advice. It was, again, decoding an event by the numbers, just taken down for medical misinformation. You showed that Robbie Parker equals 120, like his $120 million benefit that he's supposed to get from Alex Jones, and that's hate speech. That's what these big tech companies are doing. It's a joke. It's a joke. So we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. If you guys can, leave a message with Phil Marcelo. A lot of pressure on Phil Marcelo might make a difference. Messages, tweets at, other ways to contact. You guys remember years ago? The best interaction I've had with a journalist yet, the most success we've had is, I have to go back and see who wrote the articles. The whistleblower on crack cocaine. The whistleblower who supposedly committed suicide with 2 shots to the back of his head. I need to go back. A movie was made about this too. But the guy who writes for the East Coast paper, who attacked that man and made him sound like he was a lunatic, and it almost made it seem like it was good when he committed suicide, we got a hold of that reporter on the phone, and we're asking him how he could. I gotta find that stream. We got to go back to that conversation. But that guy was so irritated to get questioned. But yeah, how can you be so confident that that there was no conspiracy, as he was saying, and that he committed suicide if he was shot twice in the back of the head? Yeah, some of these people that write these articles, more and more, I don't know how much AI are writing articles, but some of these people are real human beings, and they need to be confronted, and maybe they'll think twice about doing what they're doing. Yesterday, Austin Riley entered with 127 games played for the year and got his 127th home run with 127 days left. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you were saying the future song with the 712. Just like the Catholic Church that survived, just the address 712. Pearl Harbor date can be written 712, 12-7, just like the dates Josh Green was at the UN. And Nathan says 118. You said basically the same exact thing for the Greenville, California weather warfare video from 2 years ago. Hit the like button. Nathan remembers my work better than I do. Let me see if I can pull up that Greenville fire. There's so many of these things that have happened, I can't keep them all straight. Greenville, California wiped off map by Dixie Fire. Yeah. Is your town the next Agenda 21 target? Sorry, Maui. Greenville has the same Gematria's burn like Dixie Fire. What they blamed it on. Military is also 55 for the record. And Greenville, California has that 118 like Paradise in Los Angeles, which burned on November 8th. This was in 2021 in August. Okay. I mean, do you think, like, honestly, do you think there's a sick joke to having a black man wear a yellow shirt talking about a decimating fire? I mean, isn't there like a sick racial joke in this by the people who plan the news media and give the assignments? Yellow's kind of like fire, bright, areas burnt black. It's just, yeah, it's too bad that we can't talk openly about things. And it's also a reminder that the people who've been calling for the censorship have been overwhelmingly, well, you can't even say it, but similar to Josh Green. Just like how people similar to Josh Green run Disney and make Moana by the numbers and release it by the numbers and everything we've been talking about, the discovery of Disney and the cartoon character Pluto and what's going on with Trump on 2/4/8, the day Pluto was demoted. It's just, yeah, we need people to address the conspiracies we're putting out there. Philip, Marcelo, if you want to take on my work on Trump's 2/4/8 surrender, really this community's work, and that's also true for this Maui thing, let's do it. That might actually be an interesting thing. The mainstream media taking on the top conspiracy theorists. And you know what? If this wasn't a world of algorithms and destruction by censorship, I think we would be reigning number one in the exposing of conspiracy realm. In fact, we are number one, I would say, but far and away, based on all of the proof we brought to the table and the breakdown of these things and understanding what this is all about and why these same numbers keep persisting. We solved the damn thing. Figured out how it all goes back to the 16th century. And it really goes back before that, but the system that's in place goes back to the 16th century with the calendar in English and the Jesuits and trying to stop the Protestant Reformation. Because again, the Catholic Church is about world domination. And this is what their tactics look like. Climate change is bad. Give up your rights and liberties. Submit to the Green New Deal. We'll give you your weekly stipend. You can be like the characters in WALL-E. It'll be real easy. It'll be real convenient. I didn't even talk about the Sodom and Gomorrah piece in this one, but that's okay. So, all right, thanks again. Appreciate the generosity. And great reminder on Greenville. It's sad I'd forgotten about it. I'd totally forgotten Greenville. And America has seemingly already forgotten about Maui. CNN's front page. Georgia, charges against Trump face a major test. Colleen Hoover is the biggest author in the U.S. right now. Probably supposed to remind us of Herbert Hoover and the Great Depression as the fall comes. Putin's war is forcing Russians to ditch a favorite holiday destination. Remember how that connects with Hawaii? Biden and Putin met on Pearl Harbor Day to discuss Russia-Ukraine before it broke out. Try and stop World War III on the World War II breakout date for America? What a joke. 201 days after the Jesuit Ignatian year began? Watch the latest CNN headlines. What are those? My kid missed the first week of first grade for lessons he'd never learned in school. See what happens when woman finds bear cub stuck in plastic jug. Gym-intimidation is common, experts say. Here's how to tackle it. Here's how you tackle it. Stop being a pussy. Go to the gym, get bigger and stronger, and then nobody's intimidating you. It reminds me of working out in the gym downtown Seattle with all these gay men. It's just like, God, this is gross. I wish the women were as into me. Anyway, gorilla makes heartwarming breakthrough with new mom. Japan's X-ray satellite and moon sniper lunar lander are ready to launch. Why this amazing dog trait may appear as a quirk. The Star Wars timeline is confusing. Here's when the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and more take place. Let me do a search for Maui. Oh, it is down here. Well, there's the Maui story that comes up. Maui conspiracy theories are spreading on social media. Why this always happens after a disaster. Hold on. Oh boy. They do it on the day that the new fire starts by Maui, the day leaving 127 days left in the year. Come on, man. They've been doing this every day. I mean, they've published a bunch of these articles, but here's the latest. A slew of viral conspiracy videos on social media have made baseless claims that the Maui wildfires were started intentionally as part of a land grab, highlighting how quickly misinformation spreads after a disaster. So, how did they prove that there was any misinformation in that speculation? Where was that at? Oh, it wasn't there. While the cause of the fires hasn't been determined, Hawaiian Electric, the major power company on Maui, this is what happens in all these crazy fires that just don't make sense. Oh, it's the power company. Is under scrutiny for not shutting down power lines when high winds. And remember, Dora, whose house survived her, she made a career painting power lines. It's like, how's this even possible? I've never been in anybody's house or anywhere. I've never even been in any building that has up a portrait of power lines. Dora, who painted power lines, survives the Dora winds that spread the power line, caused flames. Shutting down power lines when high winds created dangerous fire conditions. Hawaiian Electric previously said both the company and the state are conducting investigations into what happened. Maui experienced high winds from Hurricane Dora in the south, while it was also grappling with a drought. Wildfires across the region have long been a concern. Still, conspiracy theories continue to circulate as nearly 400 people are still unaccounted for. I mean, and remember, their excuse to not be in there is because the bodies are like Pompeii and they just break into ash if you accidentally step near them. So, where's the investigative journalism on that? Let's go back through the history of fires where this happened to people. Since when can't they investigate? Because the bodies will just poof into ash and be gone out blown in the Pacific? We're just focused on how, obviously, there's no conspiracy here. It's not uncommon for conspiracy theories to make the rounds after a national crisis, according to Renee. And the thing that annoys me is it's always the crap that makes the rounds. It's like the good work's not getting the attention. Everyone's time's being consumed with what was made viral. It wasn't always this way, though. I mean, the old days of the internet wasn't like that. It's just the new... it's been this way for a while, but it just gets worse. According to Renee DiResta, a research manager at Stanford University. Oh, by the way, Stanford, founded by a Jesuit. Go figure. Nice Roman architecture all over the campus. Hey, we were there at Stanford earlier this year. We planted some seeds with a young lady who was a great listener. And she said it was all a bit hard to swallow because she was Catholic, but she listened very well. Anyway, there are good people at Stanford, but I'm just saying. Jesuit history there too. People often look for a way to make sense of the world when they are anxious or have a feeling of powerlessness. For the record, Stanford's not a Jesuit university, but look into the founder. Theories that attribute the cause of a crisis to a specific bad actor offer a villain to blame, someone to potentially hold responsible. Well, the media is not holding anybody responsible, are they? The poor government response, there's just no responsibility. It was just Mother Nature, and now... you know what? Let's focus on the election. DiResta said, the conspiracy theories that are the most effective and plausible are usually based on some grain of truth and connect to some existing set of beliefs about the world. We're not working in the realm of belief here. We're working in the realm of facts and understanding a system that's old, that's used by certain spiritualities and religious groups more than others. And again, that's just a reality of the matter. It's not to say that all people in those religious groups are responsible or should be blamed. Nope. But I'd like to have a conversation with Josh Green. It would be awesome if we get a good, huge gathering of speakers to bring all the angles of everything that's wrong in Maui, where Josh Green is on September 25th. I wonder if that's going to be anywhere near where other people are. Might want to look more into that September 25th event. The article goes on. For example, someone who distrusts the government may be more inclined to believe someone who posts negatively about a government agency. You guys, why would there be any reason to trust the government? Again, the things they call conspiracy theories, like JFK, they tell you they're not going to release all the JFK files until more than 100 years after the assassination. It's like, okay, why is the government hiding information from the people if there's no conspiracy? And the people will be like, well, it's because it was some information that's really compromising to the government, and they don't want people to know about those weaknesses. Okay. Again, we know it's not that. That's why these people who have these kind of thoughts and ideas, they need to do enough research. We've done enough research. There's a reason RFK Jr. got in the election 144 days from the Jesuit Superior General's birthday, with filing officially on April 5th, when his dad was pronounced dead at 1:44 a.m., and his uncle, JFK, died 144 days from meeting with the Pope. And there's all the parallels with Lincoln and Kennedy. And the one Jordan Maxwell didn't cover was the 144 thing. You missed that one. He didn't know Gematria, Jordan Maxwell, unfortunately. R.I.P. to Jordan Maxwell. I really wanted him. I saw that he was doing collaborations with people. He never responded back to me. Disappointing. But again, Lincoln shot on 14/4, plus he blamed the Civil War on the Jesuits, and Jesuit order equals 144, and just like President Biden and Jesuit Georgetown simulated that Biden would win the last election, which he did, which we predicted way before the simulation. But again, that simulation was 144 days before the election, and now the upcoming election with Donald Trump and all this craziness, it'll be 144 days after his birthday, and he posed with the first Jesuit Pope on the 144th day of the year, which is the day in history Ecuador was established that just had the presidential assassination to the candidate. Presidential candidate assassination on the day, leaving 144 days left in the year, on the day that Joe Biden had the scares. And again, Ecuador was established 46 years after America, and Joe Biden's number 46, like JFK was shot at 46. Anyway, that's why we got to have a debate. When I lay it all down, I want to see him taking notes like a journalist, and then coming up with a logical thought about how it's all just a big coincidence and there's no way conspiracy should be looked into. Again, for example, someone who distrusts the government may be more inclined to believe someone who posts negatively about a government agency. Well, why do people distrust the government? There's a million reasons to. Where have governments been honest? Where have governments abused people? They create all sorts of reasons for distrust. These political candidates keep getting in office and going the exact opposite way of their pledges. Why does that keep happening? Just keep marching along, calling everything a coincidence and looking to nothing. Just watch the news, which is so shallow, which doesn't use its First Amendment privileges, because everyone's in line with money. We know how the Federal Reserve was established at the end of that president. First one to go overseas while he was 56 years old Woodrow Wilson. First U.S. president to travel overseas while in office. Look at this. Conspiracy theorists on varying platforms claim the fires which killed at least 114. Is that where we're at now in the new Pearl Harbor? I know I've seen that one before. I've been talking about that for years. Pearl Harbor 114. World War 114. Pearl Harbor got us into World War. History 114. It's history. This fire's historic. Oh, we're at 114, huh? That's how many are dead. Your bullshit count. Your bullshit story. It's a total fucking conspiracy. Conspiracy theorists are, let's see. Latest death toll, Maui. All right, they're up to 115 now. 115 is a killing number. Killings 115, even in Jewish Gematria, which is the most important ciphers outside the base ciphers, killings 115. It's a Lucifer number. To look more into it. But they had 114 yesterday for their article. That's the number that CNN had to throw in there. In one video, a user claims a friend sent him a video of a laser beam coming out of the sky directly targeting the city. This was a direct energy weapon assault, he said. The video remains posted, but now includes a label from Instagram listing it as false information. Oh, see? They're subtly alluding there that that's not enough, big tech. That needs to be censored along with every other thing questioning the Maui fires. Every video questioning COVID is now medical misinformation. It's like, I'm questioning from a point of why is everything a perfect numerical ritual coming back to the same number every day? Seems suspicious to me. Now the strain's 56% more infectious. Now they got the highest antibodies with 56%. Now they just spent $56 million on that. She just said 56 this. He said 56 that. People are talking in numbers. And you start looking, it's like, oh shit, they're all Jesuit educated. This is weird. Not that every Jesuit educated person learns this, but once you get picked up into the cabal, it's obvious you're either a puppet on strings, just tell them what you're told to say, or you know a thing or two about it. The video remains posted, but okay, we read that. Related far-fetched theories say the alleged laser beams were programmed not to hit anything blue, explaining why so many blue beach umbrellas were left unscathed by the fires. Okay. Look at the conspiracies they're taking down. How about attack the one I put out there? I think the one I put out there is pretty hard to get past. You know? Even when it's presented, half-assed. Other social media users allege elite Maui residents were behind the fire so they could buy the destroyed land at a discounted price and rebuild potentially a smart city. So when that stuff starts to happen in the future, you think the media is going to cover it? That's what's annoying. Look at all the things the media has done to a lot of things that were people were curious about. It's like, oh, those things people are curious about are now happening. Remember how you were just like shouting it down like that was the dumbest, most irresponsible, stupid thing that should never be said online, and it needs to be shut up right now? The next thing you know, little kids are falling down on basketball courts. All of a sudden, women and young children just new prevalence of what they call it in the UK? A phantom heart disease. Wonder where it came from. Well, don't question certain things because it's not tolerated. These journalists will tell you it's not tolerated, but they're also not looking into it. They just got a paycheck from Pfizer that said everything's hunky-dory. You're telling me that these cheaper lower middle class houses burnt down directly across the street and all of the mansions are still standing, one YouTube user posted, referencing aerial imagery taken of the destruction. One tweet about a celebrity purchasing hundreds of acres across Maui, that's Oprah, over the past few years has received more than 12 million views on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. Isn't it sad that if that's like the most viewed thing, it only got 12 million views? So let's just say that people who are looking into things came across that video because they're looking for answers. Only 12 million? Cat videos do way better than that every day. We got this tool right here to unite, network, get out truth, and sadly, they funneled us into these platforms that are totally cabal. Same numbers all over these platforms, they're all over these rituals. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's sad to me that it only got 12 million views, even though it might be all wrong. How many views did this guy get in his material syndicated that no weapon attacked Maui? What if it did? I want to hear this guy explain how he knows no Maui attack or no weapon attacked Maui. I want to hear his argument for that because he didn't give an argument for that, but he just came to that conclusion. Here, I debunked these false videos, so there's no weapon in Maui. It's just winds and dryness. I think more of the island would have burned up then, not such a targeted specific area. The old history, the old capital before America overthrew us. This is all synced up with America. Don't forget America equals 50. Again, the 50th and final state. One tweet about a celebrity. Okay, we read that one. When a conspiracy theory gains traction online, others may chime in and offer explanations. And this is what they're worried about, things gaining traction that actually have merit, like my work, like why it was absolutely destroyed when it was taken off. And it was the biggest injustice because I was almost done writing this book, you guys. I'd been working on this book. I started with a different book, and then I scrapped that one, and then I rewrote this one. But I was working on this thing from pretty much 2013 until I finished at the end of 2017, and then something happened at the end of 2017. And then that book's been out since March 2018, so beginning of 2018, but it was mostly done being written in 2017. And again, I had announced that I was going on a short break to finish the book, and then in that time they deleted the channel that had been up all the years I'd been doing it. And then all of a sudden, the book I've been working on, I had nobody to market it to, because every time I tried to create a YouTube channel, and the days after, it would just get deleted right away. I was like on channel 10 in no time. Probably by 2 weeks after the first channel was deleted, I was approaching channel 10. So then they go on. Social media is incredibly valuable in crisis events as people on the ground can report the facts directly, but that usefulness is tempered and can be dangerous if misleading claims proliferate, particularly in the immediate aftermath, DeResta said. You know, the only guy who's getting any attention that I've seen in Maui is the real estate guy who we tried to address last night. And I'm just really not sure about that guy. Because he just knows nothing about nothing, right? He just seems like a nice, innocent guy who has questions, and he's emphasizing everybody to just donate wherever you can. He's not specifying anything about don't donate to the Red Cross, which I think is always a message that should be put out, because the Red Cross comes in and exploits in all these opportunities. The Red Cross is a platform that gets hardly any of the proceeds to the actual cause. And again, those big Templar Red Crosses. Remember how they had them on both coasts for COVID? All for the symbolism, right? Coast to coast, they got us. But look at this crap. How social media networks are cracking down. They have been for a long time, and it has not been good for the world. Social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube have taken steps to curb the spread of conspiracy theories and misinformation, but some videos can slip through the cracks. Many platforms use a mix of tech monitoring tools and human reviewers to enforce their community guidelines. Ahead of the publishing of this article, TikTok removed several conspiracy theory videos sent by CNN that were in violation of its community guidelines, which it characterizes as inaccurate, misleading, or false content that may cause significant harm to individuals or society, regardless of intent, on the platform. I want you guys to think about how Orwellian that is. CNN is a news agency. News agencies are supposed to be like the biggest warriors for the First Amendment. The First Amendment was essentially made so that there can be a news and a press that questions the authorities. And again, that's not happening in this country. But here is CNN gloating about helping get all this content censored. And again, where's CNN doing any real investigative journalism? We're just going to leave it at the Winsadora and it was dry? And people look like they got hit by a volcano? I mean, that's coming from the authorities who did speak. They said it looks like Mount Vesuvius. It looks like 9/11. It looks like a war zone. It looks like Ground Zero. These are all the things I heard from the authorities and the governor. Why would I expect, though, investigative journalism when there hasn't been any in all the 21st century? I don't remember the last time I saw investigative journalism. None into 9/11. And there was a lot of demonizing of people online, even in 9/11, but there wasn't censorship, and there also wasn't platforms like YouTube after 9/11. YouTube didn't come until 2005, 4 years after 9/11. But Facebook was what, 2004? Back then, the internet was more of, you use search engines. Google was taking over the world in 2001. I graduated in high school in June of 2001. We never even heard of Google, our graduating class. You used Yahoo or Alta Vista to search. Google, by my freshman year of college, though, was already becoming a household name just the next year. Right after 9/11. I started college right when 9/11 happened. It's my second week of college, 9/11 happened. And I just realized there's no critical thinking skills. Obviously, nobody passed physics class. Obviously, we don't have any real people that care about justice who are lawyers. Otherwise, this wouldn't stand. A rude awakening at age 18 after 9/11 to how sold out this country was. And it's sad. You just see it. I mean, it's like the conspiracy is so easy to explain. How do you get everybody to sell out? Well, you get them in a job, and then you make it so that they have to follow the rules of the job, even if they know the rules are fucked up, if they want to get paid. That's the way it works pretty much everywhere. And you want to work for a news media agency, which is probably the CIA, probably what's really behind all these cable news networks. Do what you're told. Demonize the people questioning things that don't make sense. Find 5 weak examples out on the internet and shoot them all down and say, see how dumb these conspiracies are? There's no conspiracy. And you guys, that's part of the reason I got into this 10 years ago too, because that's what I was just so sick of, is just all the stuff online that people are passing around anytime anyone's looking at anything. It is almost always dumb. It's like that's your angle on this? That's what's going viral? Here, I'll just read the rest of this. Meanwhile, in a statement provided to CNN, YouTube spokesperson Elena Hernandez said the platform uses different sections. By the way, I did drive down to YouTube's doors to talk about their censorship in April, and I was greeted by security, and they took a whole bunch of questions from me, and they said they'd be back to me within 2 weeks. Never got contacted at all. But anyway, Elena Hernandez of YouTube said the platform uses different sections such as top news, developing news, and a fact check panel to provide users with as much context and background information as possible on certain trending topics and to remove content when necessary. Again, it's not YouTube anymore. I mean, had I gone to YouTube years ago and searched Maui fire, what I would get is people's content about the Maui fire. Now what I get is all the news networks' content. And you got all the news networks in all of the world posting. So you have like CBS, every city in America, even small towns. So you got like 5,000 news videos that are all the same thing. We all know how it is. I mean, and what's funny is at the Event 201 coronavirus pandemic simulation, they simulated flushing out dissenting opinions with just putting a ton of mainstream authoritarian stuff in the search. Instagram also employs third-party fact-checkers to contact sources, check public data, and work to verify images and videos on questionable content. They then rate and provide labels to the content in question, such as false, altered, or missing context, to encourage viewers to think critically about what they're about to see. Now, remember when I was streaming all those days straight on the corner of Yakima? All those days straight streaming. I tried to do some of those streams on Instagram while like my account was banned on YouTube. I was having to flip through all those channels. And all of them were banning me and calling it misinformation for quoting what Bill Gates said in his 2010 TED Talk. And then you know what their argument would be? Because I've seen them address this in other articles. They say when you quote the Bill Gates thing, you're missing the context. And we're not. We're not missing the context of what he said. His thing is about how we have to reduce emissions to zero, and we have the categories of carbon, people, a few other things, and he says we have to reduce one of these to zero, or all of them pretty close to zero for the equation to become zero. And then he says a good way we can reduce population is, and then what does he say? It's not missing context. He speaks it plainly. And if you don't know what he said, you need to look up 2010 TED Talk, 2010 TED, TED Talk. It's called Innovating to Zero. It was right at the same time he gave his Decade of Vaccine speech. There might be a link between that and how he said we can reduce population. And how he'd like to have it, in motion in a decade, which was 2020, when we all know what happened. And the first confirmed case outside of China was in his city, Seattle, the land of the big needle. His name, William Henry Gates, got that 201, like Order of Illuminati, like the Jesuit order, like the Event 201 simulation right before. His wife at the time, Melinda French Gates, from a family of Jesuit priests. France, the home of the Jesuits. She happened to turn 56 in 2020, just like the guy who gave us the Illuminati series about the Catholic Church and the Illuminati, the Da Vinci Code. Dan Brown. But, yeah, they're disingenuous how they are. It's like, okay, you're saying it's missing context, but then you don't define how it's missing context. Here's more context. Bill Gates' father was into eugenics. Yeah, but the thing is, Bill Gates donates $300 million to us, and you spend the year exposing how we lie. So, of course, we're going to side with Bill Gates. That's why if humanity ever is like destroyed and has to rebuild, it's got to come back without money, man. We learned the lesson about money. People just sell out everything for money. Here's another quote. During major news events, such as the horrific fires in Hawaii, our systems are designed to raise up content from authoritative sources and search results and recommendations. Like exactly why this thing popped up for me today. Exactly why I saw this video. Exactly why I saw this video right here. Here's the authoritative. Here, I just debunked all these videos. No weapons were used in Maui. Okay, you debunking those videos proved how no weapons were used in Maui. How? All right. Not logical. And that's what the authoritarians have been getting away with. Being not logical and getting away with it. Everything they tell us is not logical. They get away with it because nobody's questioning. Here, Philip Marcelo, our Philip Marcelo guy that we're picking on. The Rudy Giuliani thing. Here's again, just the numbers, right? Rudy Giuliani was the 107th mayor of New York City, and 9/11 happened on his 107th day of his age. And then we invaded Afghanistan on October 7th, 107. Military equals 107. It's the day leaving 85 days left in the year October 7th. Templar equals 85. Bush was the president at the time of Skull and Bones, who gets his symbolism from how the Templars bury their dead. And Bush referred to our invasion of Afghanistan as a crusade, like the Templars. And then we killed the Taliban and brought back poppy production. And then there was an opioid crisis worldwide, which is what one of Philip Marcello's top topics is. But Rudy Giuliani was one of the key lawyers to defend Big Pharma as the opioid crisis was taking off and where it could have been shut down many years before. Shut down, it hasn't been. When they finally shut down OxyContin, which he defended, then it was fentanyl even worse. What, you don't think that's a conspiracy to look into, Philip Marcelo? Isn't COVID a military agenda? Same numbers are over the whole same damn thing. Operation Warp Speed, which Trump declared on Mercuralia to celebrate mercury, the ingredient you can't question in jabs anymore. You'll get shut down for misinformation. But you see how Warp Speed's 107 and 44, just like military? These people, man, that write these articles. Imagine if my shit had been, headline news each night for the last decade. Maui wouldn't have happened. Harvey wouldn't have happened. We were on it before Harvey happened. We'd had it figured out. Paradise certainly wouldn't have happened. The Greenville town we just looked at, just to finish the article, as a result, those posts show up far less often in users' feeds, and repeat offenders can face varying risks such as losing monetization on their pages. Oh, man, I know all about it. And see, that's the thing. I'm considered a risk channel because that's what happens too. It's obvious when you get your strike. You're even worse than the algorithm. It's like a criminal punishment system, and the real crime is doing real investigative journalism that threatens the established authorities in the department who aren't doing shit. And again, these people are modern day Nazis. People need to understand that. Again, the reason we should think of it that way is because in America we were taught Nazis are the worst people ever because all they did was follow orders. Evil ones. Telling people not to look into Maui is evil. Big tech making bullshit go viral so they can debunk it, that's evil. Big tech censoring the truth that could save lives, that's evil. As a result, those posts show up far less often in users' feeds. Social media platform X, which has become even more censorship ever since that fraud Elon Musk, that other Jesuit puppet, took over. And remember, the first time my channel was ever deleted was June 28th, 2017 on Elon Musk's birthday. And back then I was showing what a puppet that guy was. Social media platform X did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Remember how they had 24 people complain, so they had to take down the X after the branding restarted on the 24th of July, and X is the 24th letter? Michael Nuye, a principal analyst at market research firm ABI Research, said social media companies are in a challenging spot because they want to uphold freedom of speech, but do so in an environment where posts that receive the most shares and likes often rise to the top of user feeds. That means posts sharing conspiracy theories that spark fear and emotion. The way they do this is gross. The media is always sparking fear and emotion. That's what they thrive on. Oh, the conspiracy theorists aren't allowed to do what we do. I mean, how is this even happening in a nation where supposedly these people went to school and they learned about America's history and the First Amendment and how important it is? Meanwhile, over here, I always try to keep it not fear-based. Yeah, shit's scary, but again, you can't live in fear. You can live aware. Might not be the most fun thing, but it could be life-saving. It could spark you to become the change that the world needs. Being aware is what made me finally start speaking out. Now I refuse to stop because I know bad shit is close. Like I've been saying the whole decade I've been here. Bad shit is close. We don't want to get to 2020, 19 years after 9/11 and the hijackers. These people working 19-year cycles. What'd they hit us with? COVID-19. They still want to call that shit COVID-19. People don't know what these numbers mean to these people. The Jewish calendar, why is it on a 19-year cycle? Again, I'm not saying it's all Jewish people, but the people who are running the show, the Jesuits, they're aware of all these things. They're into all these things. The moon's on a 19-year cycle. Josh Green, it's so perfectly synced up. Do you know what's interesting about a 19-year cycle of the moon? The moon's on a 13-month cycle in a 19-year cycle. What's 19 times 13? It's 247. The U.S. and the Illuminati are 247. The Illuminati founded by a Jew. Jews go by the moon. That's why all their holidays are synced with the moon. Again, not an attack on Jewish people. It's just facts. And it's something to think about with Josh Green being the Jewish governor at the time of this ritual. And again, it burning up on his 247th day being in office while these things are 247. And by the way, The Rock, 51 years old. I haven't even hardly talked about it on this video, but The Rock's like the most central thing to all of this. He's 51 years old right now. Hawaii's 51, like federal, like conspiracy, like Adam Weishaupt, who's the founder of the Jesuits, who established the order on 5/1. Conspiracy in 51, think about the feds in Area 51. Again, that's probably a joke too. They just got everybody so fixated on conspiracy in Area 51. They're doing conspiracies all the time with these numbers all over the place. Hello, what just happened to Hawaii? R.I.P. to what just happened to Magoo. Dead at 50 right after the 50th anniversary. Timbaland, his wingman's 51 and Magoo's 51 in Gematria. And that happened down in Atlanta while this focuses on Atlanta. So anyhow, this Michael guy, again, he says, a principal analyst at market research firm ABI Research said social media companies are in a challenging spot because they want to uphold freedom of speech. Really? Well, that's not a hard thing to do. You just say we're not censoring anything. You know? If you can't babysit your child online, do a better job being a parent. If some wacko goes out and does something crazy, let's not make the argument that that's the reason to shut down conspiracy theory. Again, they also point out that all these mass shooters are on drugs. They like playing video games like first-person shooters. I don't see first-person shooters being shut down. I don't see pharmaceutical companies being challenged. Again, this is all bullshit. It's so obvious that the reason people are getting censored is because the authorities don't like being questioned. And you know what? That's an age-old story. I learned that when I was a child. I was always questioning the authorities. Nothing made sense in church. Shit didn't make sense in school. Just being taught bullshit all over the place, and I always had a problem with it. And always on my report card, does not respect authority. And thank fucking God. Not in this world. It's not, you got to earn respect. This authority, I don't know, I haven't met any authorities that earn my respect. That might not be true. There might have been some authority somewhere in my life that I respected. But not most of the ones, not the school system, not the religious system, not the news system, not these ones. Definitely not the government system. I'm sure Ralph Nader was selling out basketball stadiums, campaigning in 2000 and only got 1% of the vote. Get the fuck out of here. And they keep doing that because they don't want a third party to have federal funding. If they hit some tiny small percentage, the third party will get federal funding. That's why none of these other parties have any federal funding. It's just the dog and pony show with the Republicans and Democrats. Another thing the media never looks into. It's another obvious conspiracy. Ralph Nader only got 1% of the vote, I'm sure. If you guys weren't alive back then, he was like the biggest thing going. Every city he was going to, the basketball stadium was sold out. Only got 1% of the vote. Right. And Ross Perot, too. He didn't get enough, supposedly. More bullshit. Or maybe... Actually, hold on. Something did happen with Ross Perot. I got to go back and look at that. But anyway, they want to uphold freedom of speech, but do so in an environment where posts that receive the most shares and likes often rise to the top of user feeds. That's curious because they take away likes from videos. They take away comments from videos. So, again, where's the investigative journalism? Talk to people who have social media platforms. They know about the way likes are taken away. It happens all the time. I had Amazon take a ton of likes away from my book. Remember, it lost like overnight. It lost nearly 100 reviews. Must be the same type of thing because they don't want the book to track too well in the selling algorithm. I mean, it still has a good amount of likes. It has nearly 800 likes, but it would have more. It'd be almost to 1,000 now. And who knows? I've had a lot of people actually leave comments that they tried to review the book and it never showed up. So maybe it does have over 1,000 comments. Maybe they had to keep it seem smaller because they don't pay me anything. My last paycheck for my monthly sales of my book was $11.40. No joke. $11.40. So it means it sold like 3 copies in the world. 4 copies maybe. I mean, it could be true. But yeah, that's what I just hate about this digital world. It's so much easier to manipulate and again, hide the evidence. Click of a button, all of a sudden a whole bunch of likes are gone, a whole bunch of comments are gone. And hey, we gave you a new algorithm where if you get good likes and it's conspiracy, we still let it go up. But oh wait, we took away your likes. I mean, it's just annoying. It's just annoying to even read. It's like, get the fuck out of here. How about the way it works is you just have an actual view count that's real. You don't give certain videos more views so they can get boosted in the algorithm and likes like they obviously do. So again, coming up in your feed, even though you've never looked into it, tranny man, how to paint your nails this morning. Oh, just what I wanted to watch. Tranny man, paint my nails. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, supposedly that had 15 million views in the last 9 hours. Looking into Maui. No views. Nobody's videos have any views. The guy who's getting the most views is getting like 100,000 views. That's still not shit. But that guy who's getting those views, I don't trust that guy. Maui real estate. He's calling on Trump and Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan and religion. And it's like, okay, this guy believes in all the little Jesuit finger puppets. And let's catch on to the religion's not helping us thing. God. And for all you guys who think that all this stuff's happening because people are abandoning religion, pull your head out of your ass. I'm showing you every day it's the Society of Jesus doing this shit. Undeniably. They're the ones who need you to believe in the miracles and the book of fire and destruction. These people have been building their web of deceit for so long in so many ways. That's why they got everybody. They got them either with religion or government or authority or the sports game or consumerism or entertainment. They got everybody in all these little buckets they created for them, and they've shown this bucket over here looking into wrongdoing by your government authority. That's a big no-no. That's a bucket you don't want to be in. That's a whole lot of punishment and demonization and social outcasting. You want to stay cool with the cult and the culture. But yeah, anyway, this stuff, man. I got to wrap it up. I'm so disgusted by all of this, and it's wrong that we can't get a fair debate. There needs to be a fair debate about all this stuff that I'm bringing up. The censorship, what happened in Maui, other places. If we're so crazy and stupid, put me on a screen with this guy who wrote this article, or this person right here, Murphy Kelly, Samantha Murphy Kelly. They can both debate at the same time. See who's got better points. I'll bring the A game. All right, guys. Thanks again for everyone who hits the like and the share, even though Google will probably take it away. And until next time.